Everyone, if you're probably wondering why I titled this video John Barilaro is corrupt and has committed illegal acts, well, quite frankly, he has. John Barilaro is in direct violation of the New South Wales legislation, Part 3, corrupt conduct, Section 8, Subsection 2, virtually every single one of them. Tax evasion, forgery, which is witness forgery, conspiracy or attempt in relation to any of the above. Not to mention John Barilaro's farmhouse slash mansion slash holiday homes can actually be classified as a commercial residential premise. You're probably wondering, why am I saying that? I'm looking at something called the income from partnership, which is the Constitution by Matthew, written in 1983, ordinary return form. Name of occupation, if any, joint owner. Description of kinds of service provided, holiday house. Holiday house? Considering that it's on stays in Airbnb for under $2,000. Yet, considering it is actually turning over $75,000 per annum, which equates to more than $100-something thousand, which equates to more than $1 million per annum, which means it's in direct violation of the ATO and can be classified as a commercial residential premise, I should say. Now, I've been digging into this, and there are videos on YouTube and everywhere else, including the one from last month from Sky News. And though I don't actually like touting Sky News because they give a platform to, say, the Liberal National Party to actually spew bullshit against their opposition and spew lies, misinformation, along with misleading the public. Now, the video I just rewatched, which is Arrested, which is on Friendly Geordies, and I will link it. The producer for Friendly Geordies was arrested, charged with stalking and such, considering that he never actually uttered the phrase, "you're corrupt," to John Barilaro, which means that's a lie in a police statement. Not to mention, John Barilaro also filled out court documents with the Parliament House address as his living address. Does he actually live at Parliament House? I don't think so, because Parliament House actually does not have any living quarters there. The only quarters it does have is for the groundskeeper and such, I'm guessing. It does, but Parliament House does actually have chambers. Does he have a chamber set aside for himself that he's actually done up to be like a living area with full kitchen, bed, toilet, bathroom, and such? Because if so, I would like to see that. But seeing as he doesn't, and John Barilaro has actually called in the fixated persons investigation unit. Yeah, he's gone above the police chief himself and just said, I want this person arrested and such, charged with stalking, blah blah blah. Considering that there was a lot of misinformation towards the producer. Considering that the Fixated People's Investigation Unit is actually set up to be a counter-terrorism unit. It's part of the counter-terrorism. And you're probably wondering, That's not so bad. Yeah, not so bad, considering it was actually set up after the, or during the Lint Cafe siege. So, John Barilaro has actually gone, you know what? Screw this. Though, if you actually do watch the interview that is down below after this video, and then have a look at Friendly Geordie's videos before that video, I should say, you will actually find that, yeah. Considering that I am actually looking at all the stories. And I do mean all the stories. Because lawyers for Mr. Langer said they were highly disturbed by misinformation that police appear to have acted upon? Yeah. We have the video of the interaction with Deputy Premier, and it doesn't appear to accord with the police facts. Stephen Davis' partner, Mark Davis, who is representing Mr. Langer, said in a statement. Mr. Davis made claims that during Mr. Lanker's arrest, police charged into his home, pushing his mother to the ground and smashing his partner into a table, which left them both injured and traumatized. New South Wales police declined to comment on the claims made by the lawyer, which means the police are involved because they're in the back pocket of John Barilaro, who is corrupt. And if you actually do look at, I will actually link the part 3 in the description. You can actually go through that. Mr. Davis said it was shocking to see the fixated persons unit, established in May 2017 in the wake of the Lint Cafe siege, used against investigating journalism and YouTube comedians. Mr. Davis described Mr. Langer's bail conditions as utterly extreme. Yeah, they are utterly extreme because they're freaking stupid. He will be in breach if he possesses an image or category of Deputy Premier, or if he comments upon the appearance or the behaviour of the Deputy Premier, Mr. Davis said. The charges come from Mr. Barilaro after Mr. Barilaro launched defamation proceedings against Friendly Geordies, also known as Jordan Shanks. Well, we know that part. Zephion Davis is also representing Mr. Shanks in the defamation suit. Our clients are in great danger if they attempt to defend themselves publicly against the Deputy Premier's defamation allegations, while also being subject to the criminal powers of the state. Well, Mr. Barilaro has also tried to sue Google, which is the owner of YouTube. Yeah, that didn't work out very well, now did it? And I do mean that didn't work out very well. Because, let's see if I can pull it up. Here we go. Be the first story. Let's see. The clown, New South Wales online, suing online comedian Jordan Shanks, known as Friendly Geordies, for defamation over 2 sketch videos published on YouTube. The claim lodged in the federal court on Thursday, not this year. Well, actually, it was this year, back in May. There's 2 clips that blah blah blah, and a statement of claim lawyers for Mr. Barilaro said they were internally defamed in the first video titled Bros, published in September, claiming it implied Mr. Barilaro was a corrupt conman. Well, if they actually looked at the New South Wales legislation and then looked at what John Barilaro has done, yeah, John Barilaro is a corrupt conman. Considering that he's actually taken away the FPA's official right to actually protect the environment and such, and like he's just gave the go-ahead to logging companies. Oh, look, yes, you can log here, you can log there. I don't care. He wants to strip down everything and build. I'm gonna say this because it is completely and utter stupid. So that he can actually take ownership of that land and put houses on it for himself. And then rent them out and not pay GST on them. And quite frankly, the property was actually on stays, not Airbnb. And considering that it's actually both on stays and Airbnb, which means it's double dipping in the cookie jar. And he called the Deputy Premier offensive names, referring to Barilaro as Italian heritage. The claim lodged by Mark O'Brien Legal said the solicitors wrote to Google late last year to have the YouTube video removed because of the vile and racist language used in the clip, but received no response. It also alleged a second video published by Mr. Shanks in October titled Secret Dictatorship claimed Mr. Barrow acted corruptly by engaging in blackmail, which he actually has been doing. Claiming Mr. Shanks continued mocking and goading Mr. Barilaro in a third video published in November discussing Mr. Barilaro's request to remove the earlier two clips. Mr. Barilaro's office said he was funding the case privately. Mr. Shanks has faced threats of similar legal action from former politicians and businessman Clive Palmer in 2019, though Clive Palmer is actually corrupt. He didn't pay royalties for Twister's Sisters We're Not Gonna Take It song, yeah. The latest series includes a partnership with former Prime Minister Kevin Rudd involving a Google Box-style series entitled Deconstructing Propaganda. In a statement to ABC, Mr. Shanks said he would be relaying on the truth defense labeling the case dangerous and self-interested. The suit could have terrible implications for free speech in this country, he said. Yes, Mr. John Barilaro. Considering that Google went, yeah, here's this. A badge to your lawsuit. Let's see. Google, I'm still trying to find. At federal court Friday morning, Chief Justice agreed that the submission and ordered for Google to be served. Defamation lawsuit. Wow, we know that judge is actually in John Barilaro's back pocket. Being paid under the table to actually push something forward. That seems a bit corruption right there. Anything else? Anything else, Mr. John Barilaro, considering that, let's see. I am looking for what Google has said, considering that Google has actually said nothing. They've done nothing. Yeah. The judge refused to strike out part of New South Wales Deputy Premier's defamation case against entertainer Jordan Shanks. Let's see. Is suing Shanks and Google, who owns YouTube, over two videos, titled Buzz on the Secret Dictatorship, blah blah blah. Shanks wanted to argue that the information that Barrow committed perjury 9 times was substantially true, and that the information he deserved to be jailed for was his honest opinion relating to a matter of public interest, which is correct. The public interest was said to be that Barilaro, who said in 2018 in evidence to a committee of New South Wales Legislative Council, and was based on his evidence. But in the federal court on Friday, Justice Stephen refused to say the case in relation to the two informations. Yeah, blah blah blah, more bullshit from John Barilaro. Hanks chose the way in which he published the Rose video, which appeared to have been scripted and produced with considerable technical skills and support. Yeah, I actually watched that. It was actually pretty good. It was not a spontaneous or unprepared publication, and he was not responding to an attack made by on him under parliamentary privilege. Rather than being unfair that parliamentary privilege prevented him from relying on his defense, the judge said that it would be unfair to deprive Barlow of the right to vindicate his reputation that Mr. Shanks attacked. Well, everyone's actually attacking your reputation, considering that last year, Mr. Barilaro, there are actually stories of you from that the Nationals are actually hating your judgment and everything else. And you don't believe me. Look on YouTube, for that matter. Go back through stories and stuff. Type your own name into a search engine, Mr. Barilaro, and you'll find out the truth. The judge allowed Shanks 14 days in which to file a new defense. And that defense has now just been filed because it is the 27th. At a later date, the judge will hear an application by Shanks for the ultimate hearing to be held before a jury rather than a judge. Can I be on that jury? I would love to sit on that jury. And I do mean I would love to sit on that jury. That'll be, can't tell you about this, can't tell you about that. Sorry, can't talk about the case until after it's been in the news for a week. So, John Barilaro likes to use everything, including the fixated persons. Fixated persons investigation unit. He virtually went above the police and over the police chief to actually use that investigation unit, considering that it is part of the counter-terrorism plan. Yeah. John Barilaro, can you please explain what the counter-terrorism plan is for New South Wales? Because I'm pretty sure the Fixated Persons Investigation Unit is part of that. The FPIU was established in April 2017, shortly before the New South Wales coroner released his report into the Lint Cafe siege, announcing the new unit. New South Wales Police Commissioner Mike Philua referred to people who are asked about issues, ideals, or individuals, and are plotting acts of violence or capable of acts of terrorism. When does voicing honest opinion, along with stating the truth and the facts correctly, come under terrorism? When does that actually come under terrorism? Where? Mr. Barilaro? Because, quite frankly, you've not said where or how it comes under that. Considering that you actually use your political power to actually get this unit to do your bidding. Which means you just use political power for dictatorship. Wow. Reminds me of Donald Trump, doesn't it? With Donald Trump trying to use the military to shoot protesters. Not move, shoot. As in shoot to kill. Thank you very much. Considering that in America, peaceful protests are actually protected by freedom of speech. Because it is a peaceful protest. Those who actually disrupt the peaceful protest can actually be considered domestic terrorists under the law. Because they are infringing on people's rights. The January 6th insurrection on Capitol Hill in the United States by those who actually were at Donald Trump's rally. Donald Trump said, walk, get everyone marched down and shouted, hang Mike Pence and such, didn't they? Yeah. I'm sorry, Mr. Barilaro, but you're not Donald Trump, and this isn't America. This is Australia. So you either follow the law because you're not above it, and here's my badge. Because I find you guilty of breaching New South Wales legislation, Part 3, corrupt conduct. And yes, I actually have it up. Oh, and I also have the emergency management counter-terrorism plan saved, so I can use that against you. And if you don't like that, Mr. Barilaro, how would you actually like to meet a few of my friends in higher places than what you are? Because I'm pretty sure they would actually have a good old time going through everything and finding you guilty. And in my honest opinion, you are guilty of being a corrupt conman. Because I'm looking at the New South Wales legislation and Part 3, Section 8, Subsection 2. Considering Section 7, which is corrupt conduct, which you have actually violated, which now comes under Section 8, general nature corrupt conduct. You forged witness statement, which is a forgery. You're claiming virtually nothing. You haven't paid any GST on your property, which is tax evasion. The last one, which is any conspiracy or attempt in relation to any of the above. Yeah. Election bribery, election funding offences, obtaining or offering secret commissions, bribery, blackmail, theft, fraud, preventing the course of justice. There we go. I advise you to actually read the Code of Conduct, the corrupt conduct, Mr. Barilaro, because you will actually have a hard time defending yourself against it. And quite frankly, I don't care what anyone else thinks. Because if I see a fixated person's investigation unit member on my doorstep, I am ringing the police and having them charged with actually breaching my privacy. So goodbye, Mr. Barilaro. Have a good day. Not.